There's a lot of frustrating parts about Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, most of them come down to individual cards being legal, like Called By and almost every Floodgate, and basically anything spell speed 4. But they kind of pale in comparison to like the actual most frustrating part about Yu-Gi-Oh! And just watching decks get support, okay? There's two parts to watching decks get support, okay? There's watching other decks get support and watching your own. All right, watching your own deck get bad support is not a unique feeling. Okay, I like Mikanko, Monarchs, and Goaty. And man, it's one thing for your deck to get bad support. It's another thing to know the support is bad and watch other people that don't play the deck say the support is broken. And for those of you that are curious, this is exactly about fish and bids. Okay, Goaty is still technically salvageable. Okay, the more generic fish support gets printed, the more we'll slowly inch towards a starter. But Mikanko, I have lost faith altogether. Okay, Mikanko could have had the support be interesting and good. It could have helped support, the deck and help it go first. It could have given the deck a way to search Ohime. It could have given a body that actually does something, if you draw it. But no, we got we got a new monster that does literally nothing by itself. It once again needs an equip spell to do something. And then we also get another spell that loses most of its utility because it wants to be in the graveyard. But the only way to put it in the graveyard is already being used as part of the main combo. Because once again, we have no. Every monster requires another equip spell, so we're running around with 2-card combos. But it just feels like the designers of these cards just don't bother to play the deck sometimes. But it's not a unique feeling. Everyone that likes a rogue deck can sympathize with each other. Okay, except for hero players. Okay, heroes have been given 154 main deck monsters and 110 spell and traps. About that number, I may have miscounted, plus or minus about 5 on each of those there. But for context, there are almost as many hero cards as there are equip spells, which have been there since the game, first, was created. Hero gets, support like every other month, when actually cool and interesting decks get nothing. They're just out there starving, on the street. And you know what? Hero got more support. And you know what? The deck is now just going to be making a Cosmos Neos. Okay? The deck is just an FTK now. It's garbage unless you're FTKing. It's just incredible to me that hero players are allowed to walk among us and voice their opinion. Okay? They're almost as bad as branded players. But very close, mind you, but branded players are still worse, okay? Branded players have been getting coddled with custom cards since 2023. And for 3 years, they have been getting the most insane cards printed, and they still have the gall to ask more. And then, on top of that, they still try to FTK you, okay? Branded has 2 structure decks, all right? The first one, Albaz Strike, got released with Artifact Scythe, Dimensional Barrier, and there can be only one. Okay, the first ever widely accessible release of Branded, and they wanted you to FTK your opponent 3 ways. Okay, and for the astute of you, you may have realized that I'm complaining about not getting to play the game. And earlier, I said I like Monarchs, and you know what? That's a fair assessment. I like Monarchs. In their game plan of tribute summoning, gaining additional effects if you tribute summon using the same attribute, and interesting deck building considerations, because you have to run a critical mass of both spells and bodies, and then fit in non-engine, and it makes for a very interesting game plan. I do not condone extra deck locking. However, I think that's terrible, and the fact that they did that is heartbreaking. That the deck just puts out a floodgate. That's all the deck is known for. This all kind of comes back around to, if Monarchs were, had an actual game plan where they got support instead of, hero or branded, watching the notification pop up on the YG organization, about new cards is continually the most heartbreaking thing I can't stop looking forward to. And I think that hero and branded players should be beaten with sticks. Post-editing skiff here. I forgot to include this earlier, but I think that shuffling back for cost is the stupidest thing that has ever been added. I think that everyone that was involved in the Fiendsmith, this should be, shuffling back for cost. Everyone that was like part of that whole discussion and greenlit it should also be beaten with sticks and should not be allowed to vote. Also, same thing applies to the Yummy as well. Why are they shuffling back from the extra deck? Why is their entire deck untargetable? Stupid, very stupid. But yeah, slopification. That's all that is. It's more slop.